Welcome back. Donald Trump has not only vowed to hit Canada and Mexico with tariffs, but also to dial up tariffs on imports of Chinese goods to the United States. That has implications for the price of consumer electronics in the world's largest economy, the U.S. Let's bring in an expert on that situation. Patrick Pannett is Senior Director of Industry and Policy Communications at the Consumer Technology Association. Patrick, thanks a lot for joining us. Because we're going to be talking about consumer electronics, let's begin with you just describing your group, your association. What is it? Who does it include? And then we'll proceed from there.
Great to be with you, Paul. So the Consumer Technology Association has been around for 100 years now. We're North America's largest technology trade association. We have more than 1,200 members across North America from, of course, some of the world's most well-known companies. But 80% of our membership is made up of small to medium-sized businesses, and especially startups that are critical to scaling technology. What most people may know CTA for is our annual technology trade show, CES, held each January in Las Vegas, where we bring 130,000 plus people to do business, to set the agenda for the year ahead in technology and in policy. It's where partnerships and visions come alive. So that's really what we focus on. And global trade and resilient supply chains is a fundamental part of that.
Okay, so with that in the background, your association has commissioned studies on earlier rounds of tariffs imposed on China. They're called Section 301 tariffs. They were imposed in 2018 in response to unfair trade practices in China, which are fairly well known, intellectual property theft being one of them. Your group, however, calls these tariffs paid by American businesses and consumers. That's a fairly common view of tariffs among economists and experts. You did commission a study on whether those tariffs were effective. What did that study show?
The bottom line here is that tariffs and trade wars only increase the costs for the end consumers. The manufacturer, the retailer, anyone midstream isn't going to eat that cost. It's going to be the end consumer. And what our data show is that, for example, gaming, one of the most popular pastimes in Canada, people going out to buy that new gaming console will see potentially an average increase of $246 per unit under these tariffs at retail. And you can apply that to any element of technology or anything with a lithium-ion battery that is part of our connected life. That new back-to-school laptop will go from $250 to $362. Black Friday's tomorrow. This is going to make a real impact. Think about next Black Friday with these tariffs in place, and it's not a pretty economic picture for anyone in the supply chain.
What should U.S. policymakers do about things like intellectual property theft and unfair trade practices in China?
Regarding IP theft and trade, I think that needs to be negotiated. IP obviously deserves to live with who is responsible for it, who has created it, who owns it. But we also need to recognize that we have interconnected global systems, and we have to be able to collaborate with one another, countries across the world. And I think even the Chinese embassy in Washington said it well the other day that if anything does, even if it's about IP or trade or tariffs or whatever, nobody wins a trade war or a tariff war. Of course, what I will say is that we are cautious, and we do obviously want to make sure that we are operating within the confines of anything that is prescribed by the Department of Commerce entity list, that we're not working with companies that we know are doing things like that, or, for example, are on the Uyghur list for the things that they are doing in the north of China as well.
What would it's not at all likely that production of electronics would move from China to the United States in response to tariffs, is it?
We did a study, in fact, with Carney last October, 2023, and what it showed that there's really no such thing as reshoring a whole supply chain to the United States. It's more a composite of working with our friends, friendshoring or nearshoring with Canada, with Mexico, to be able to have that integrated supply chain, just like we see with automotive today between the US and Canada.
Are you making your views known to the president-elect and his organization, or do you plan to do so come January when he is president of the United States?
I think it's important to recognize that at least for the most recent tariff proposal, the 25% on imports from Canada and Mexico, the 10% on existing tariffs of imports from China, that's still a social media tile. That is not US policy. The president-elect is still the president-elect. We look forward to working with the new administration come January 20th, but we're also not going to hide behind the real headwinds in the economy that we see today through manufacturers, supply chain, and wanting to get ahead of that. So we are going to be vocal. We were in Ottawa last month talking to policymakers in Canada. This trade is a critical issue for the US and our strategic partners.
Patrick Pannett, thank you a great deal for this conversation. Senior Director of